All right, welcome to the video here today for Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. My name is Brock Page, and I've been doing sports picks for free right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage, and I have packages on that site starting at just $1.99. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Mets taking on the Pirates Game 1. That's going to be a 12:35 Eastern first pitch. The New York Mets are minus 240 in Game 1, totals 8.5. Chris Bassett for New York, Dwayne Underwood for Pittsburgh. Now, Dwayne's just 1-5 with an ERA in the 4s. The Pirates also lost 7 out of their last 10. They have one of the worst hitting lineups in the league. These guys are second to last in the majors in team batting average. They're also facing Chris Bassett, who has a dozen wins on the year and 143 strikeouts. Now, hitting-wise, the Mets have been very tough to strike out. They're in the top 3 in the league in strikeouts per 9 at the plate. That's fewest strikeouts per 9 at the plate. Jeff McNeil, he's also hitting a team-best .317 at the dish. Now, Pete Alonso, he's 4th in the bigs with 104 runs batted in. When it comes to total, 5 out of Bassett's last 7 starts got over the line. Plenty of run support for the righty. Now, the Mets also saw 8 out of their last 10 meetings with Pittsburgh get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. I'm going to lean toward the Mets minus 1.5. And the over 8.5 in Game 1. Next ball game, Twins, Yankees, and that is Game 1 as well. 3:05 Eastern first pitch. The New York Yankees are minus 150, total 7.5. Domingo Germán for New York, Louis Varland for Minnesota. Now the Twins dropped 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they've had a tough time winning on the road. These guys have a .437 win percentage while traveling, and they rank in the bottom 10 in road hits. They're also facing Domingo Germán, who's got a .312 ERA and a 1.12 whip. And even if Germán struggles, the Yankees are still hitting more home runs than any other club in baseball. Aaron Judge has a league-best 54 bombs. He also leads the league in runs batted in and OPS. Now, when it comes to the number, 8 out of New York's last 10 meetings did fall under the total. Meanwhile, the Twins saw 3 out of their last 4 on the road fall under the line. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees minus 150, under 7.5 in that tight window in Game 1. Next game, Brewers Rockies, 3:10 p.m. East. Milwaukee's minus 140, totals 11.5. Eric Lauer for Milwaukee, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's just 7-9 with an ERA close to 5. This Rockies pitching staff has also struggled all season long. They're dead last in strikeouts, and they're allowing more runs a game than any other pitching staff in the majors. They're also facing a Milwaukee team who hits a whole lot of home runs. These guys are in the top 3 in homers, and they're led by Rowdy Tellez, who has 28 round trippers on the year. Now, starting pitcher Eric Lauer, he's been excellent on the bump this season as well. He's got double-digit wins along with 134 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Colorado get over the number. Once again, another one of those historical trends. Meanwhile, Colorado went 10-5 to the over in their last 15 Kyle Freeland starts. I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee minus 140, over 11.5. Next ball game, Braves, Athletics, 3:37 East. Atlanta's minus 270, total 7 runs. Spencer Strider for Atlanta, Ken Waldichuk for Oakland. Now the A's dropped 5 out of their last 6. They have one of the worst hitting lineups in baseball. They're currently dead last in team batting average, and they're also scoring less than 3.6 runs per contest. They're also facing Spencer Strider, who's been fairly dominant this season. The righty's got 174 strikeouts and just 114-plus innings. Now, he's also got a sub-1 whip. It's actually a .98 whip for Strider. And in addition to winning their last 6 straight, the Braves have been catapulted by some really good hitting. They're in the top 3 in OPS, and they're leading the National League in home runs. Austin Riley's got 35 homers on the year. He's in the top 5 in homers and OPS. Meanwhile, Matt Olson's 5th in the bigs with 90 RBI himself. When it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta's last 4 straight on the road all got over the number. They've also gone a staggering 14-2 to the over against American League opponents. I'm going to lean toward the Braves minus 1.5 over 7. Next game, Tigers, Angels, 407 East. The LA Angels are the $2 favorite. Total's 8.5 runs. Paddy Sandoval for Los Angeles. Drew Hutchison for Detroit. And as bad as the Tigers have been this year, they successfully cashed in on the run line in 3 out of their last 4 road games. And speaking of road games, Detroit's actually one of the better road pitching teams in the American League. I know that sounds crazy, but they are in the top 10 in the entire league in fewest road hits allowed. Now, they're also in the top 10 in fewest road runs allowed as well. They're taking on an Angels squad on the other side of things who struggles to get on base. They struggle to get base runners, and that's been consistent all season long. These guys are actually in the bottom 5 in the majors in team batting average, and they're striking out more times a game than any other club in the major leagues. Once again, some really significant struggles at the plate for the Angels. Now, they also have Paddy Sandoval on the bump here today, who's just 5-9 on the year with a 1.34 whip. When it comes to the total, LA went 4-1 to the under in their last 5 Sandoval starts. Not a whole lot of run support for the lefty. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus 1.5, keeping this one close, and the under 8.5 runs. Next matchup, it is going to be White Sox taking on the Mariners, 4:10 p.m. East. Seattle's the $2 favorite, total 7.5 runs. Luis Castillo for Seattle, Michael Kopech for Chicago. And despite his record, Kopech's had some pretty good stuff this year. He's got a 3.58 ERA and a 1.21 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Sox got the W in 5 out of their last 7. And they've had no issue getting base runners. These guys are in the top 3 in the bigs in team batting average. Now, Jose Abreu is actually leading the charge, hitting .309 at the plate. Now, they're taking on a Seattle club who doesn't get on base a whole lot themselves. They've consistently struggled at the plate. These guys are actually in the bottom 10 in the league in team batting average. They also score fewer runs a game than most teams in the American League. Now, when it comes to the scoring, Seattle's last 4 straight home games all fell under the posted total. In addition to that, they're also 8-2 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the White Sox went 70% to the under in their last 10 themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Chicago White Sox plus 1.5, keeping this one close, and the under 7.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Giants taking on the Dodgers, 4:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 245, totals 8 runs. Clayton Kershaw for Los Angeles, Alex Cobb for San Francisco. Despite having some pretty good numbers this year, Alex Cobb comes into today's game with a losing 5-6 record. Now, the Giants have also struggled away from Oracle Park. These guys currently have a .430 win percentage when they travel. Now, they're facing Clayton Kershaw on the other side of things, who is 7-3 on the year with a .97 whip. And when it comes to scoring runs, really no one's doing it better than Los Angeles. These guys are averaging just about 5.5 runs a game, and they're currently the league leaders in OPS. Now, Mookie Betts, he has 33 homers on the year. Trey Turner is also 5th in runs batted in. When it comes to the total, LA saw their last 5 straight at Dodger Stadium get over the number. Meanwhile, San Francisco's 8-2 to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers minus 1.5, over 8 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Twins at the Yankees, 6:35 East, and of course that's game 2. It's been an extremely wet East Coast over the past couple of days, so this is the second of a doubleheader. And of course, Game 2 is going to be a 6:35 Eastern first pitch. Now, New York's the $2 favorite in Game 2, total 6.5. Garrett Cole for New York, Joe Ryan for Minnesota. And despite some really good innings out of Ryan this year, the Twins as a team, they've dropped 4 out of their last 5 ball games. As a matter of fact, Minnesota took the loss in 4 out of Ryan's last 7 starts. They're facing Garrett Cole on the other side, who's been one of the more dominant pitchers in the game this year. He's got double-digit wins and 204 strikeouts. Meanwhile, this Yankee pitching staff as a whole, they're allowing under 3.6 runs a game for the entire year. Now, total-wise, New York did average 7 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Minnesota. As a matter of fact, 9 out of those 10 ball games I just mentioned did get over the total. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees minus 1.5 and the over 6.5 runs in Game 2. Next matchup, Mets-Pirates Game 2, 6:35 East. This game's currently off the board. Jacob deGrom for New York, Johan Oviedo for Pittsburgh. Now, Oviedo's averaging over a strikeout an inning, and he has a 3.20 ERA. Now, the Pirates have also cashed in on the run line in 2 out of their last 4 at PNC Park. Now, they're taking on a Mets team who failed to cover in 6 out of their last 10 themselves. They've also had a tough time scoring runs for Jacob deGrom. They're averaging only 2.3 runs a game in their deGrom starts this year. So as dominant and as good as deGrom looks, we're talking about the run line in Game 2, and he just hasn't been getting a whole lot of run support. So I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Pittsburgh plus 1.5, covering the run line in Game 2. Next ball game, Red Sox Rays, 6:40 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is minus 175, total 7 runs. Jeffrey Springs for Tampa Bay, Nick Pivetta for Boston. Now, Pivy's suffered double-digit losses this year, along with a 4.37 ERA. The Bo Sox have also had a tough time against the American League East this year. They've lost 21 of 28 divisional road games this year. They're taking on a Tampa team who won 7 out of their last 8 themselves. And they've also been dominant in divisional play. These guys are 23-10 against the AL East at the Trop. They also have Jeffrey Springs on the mound, who's got 117 strikeouts and an ERA in the 2s. Now, total-wise, the Rays went 61% to the under in their divisional home games. They also held Boston to just 3.8 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. I'm going to lean towards Tampa Bay, minus 175, under 7. Next contest, it is going to be Marlins taking on the Phillies, 6:45 East. Philadelphia is minus 170, total 7.5. Bailey Falter for Philadelphia, Trevor Rogers for Miami. Now, Trevor's just 4-10 on the year with an ERA of 5.57. Meanwhile, as a team, the Marlins lost their last 8 straight. And they averaged only 1.3 runs a game during that losing streak. They're facing Bailey Falter here today for the Fightins, and he's got himself a 1.19 whip. Meanwhile, hitting-wise, the Phils are tough to slow down at Citizens Bank Park. These guys are in the top 5 in the league in home hits per contest. Kyle Schwarber leads the National League in home runs with 36 of them. Meanwhile, Bryce Harper is hitting .318 at the dish. When it comes to the numbers, 7 out of Philly's last 10 ball games got over the total. They also saw their last 2 Bailey Falter starts get over the line. I'm going to lean toward the Philadelphia Phillies, minus 170, and the over 7.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Blue Jays taking on the Orioles, 7:05 East. Now, Toronto's the $1.40 favorite on the road, total 7.5 runs. Alek Manoah for Toronto, Dean Kramer for Baltimore. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, the O's saw 6 out of their last 10 outings fall under the number. They're also 6-0 to the under in their last 6 Dean Kramer starts. Plenty of unders to go around here. Meanwhile, Toronto on the other side, they saw unders in their last 4 straight Alek Manoah starts themselves. And when it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game's actually being featured as my board member tier package bet on my website. So if you want to see whether I'm taking the Jays on the road or if I like the Orioles catching plus money at home, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my board member tier package bet on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And just a reminder here, guys, board members get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, all the way until October 1st. It's an all-inclusive membership, and the link for that play is in the description section below. But as far as making a free pick is concerned, I'll give you one on the total. I'm going to lean toward the under 7.5 in this ball game. Next matchup, little NL Central action. I'm talking about the Reds at the Cubs, 7:40 p.m. East. The Chicago Cubbies, they are -140, totals 8 runs. Javier Assad for Chicago, Mike Minor for Cincinnati. Now, Minor's got double-digit losses with an ERA of 5.98. The Reds have also played some pretty bad baseball within the division. They've gotten the W in only 8 out of 22 divisional road games. Now they're taking on a Chicago club who's got a winning record against the NL Central at Wrigley Field. And in these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings, the Cubbies have averaged over 6 runs a game against the Reds. Now Ian Happ currently leads the club in RBI with 64 of them. Meanwhile, Patrick Wisdom, he's been hitting for significant power this year. He has the most home runs on the team. When it comes to the total, 7 out of Chicago's last 10 outings did get over the number. Meanwhile, Cincinnati's gone 15-7 to the over against the NL Central on the road. I'm going to lean toward the Cubs, -140, over 8. Next matchup, it is going to be Nats Cards, 7:45 East. St. Louis is the massive $3.10 favorite at home, totals 8 runs. Jordan Montgomery for the Cards, Corey Abbott for Washington. Now, this Nationals pitching staff allows more runs a game on the road than any other club in baseball. They've also taken the loss in Corey Abbott's last 3 starts. Now, they're facing a Cards team on the other side of things who won 8 out of their last 10. And I'll tell you what, St. Louis, they do nothing but hit the baseball. These guys are currently in the top 3 in the league in runs per game. And of course, Paul Goldschmidt, he's hitting a league best 329 at the dish. Now, Goldie's also in the top 5 in home runs, RBI, and OPS. And when it comes to the pitching in this one, Jordan Montgomery's been a perfect 4-0 in a St. Louis uniform. He's been basically perfect as a Cardinal. Once again, 4-0 with an ERA of 1.76. When it comes to the scoring, 4 out of the Cards' last 7 at Busch Stadium got over the line. Meanwhile, the Nats saw 2 out of their last 3 Corey Abbott starts get over the total. I'm going to lean towards St. Louis, -1.5, over 8 runs. Next ball game, Guardians Royals, 8:10 p.m. East. Cleveland's the $1.35 favorite on the road. Total is 8 runs. Cody Morris is the probable pitcher here for Cleveland. Looks like we're going to see Zach Greinke on the other side for Kansas City. Now, guys, unfortunately, the bad news is I'm not going to be able to give this one away for free here today. This game's being featured as my daily best play on my website. But the good news is, guys, my daily best play is only going to cost you just $1.99. And once again, if you sign up for a membership here today on my website, you're going to get access to that package every single day, all the way until October 1st. So if you want to see whether I'm betting on the side or the total in this game here, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my $1.99 daily best play on my website. And the link for that play is in the description section below. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be Rangers at the Astros. That's going to be an 8:10 Eastern first pitch in Houston. Now the Astros are -290 with the total at 8 runs. Christian Javier for the Stros, Cole Reagans for Texas. And even though the Rangers have really struggled as of late, they've actually done a nice job of cashing in on the run line against divisional opponents this year. They're 18-13 against the number versus the AL West on the road. And when it comes to hitting the long ball, well, these guys are still a threat to hit it out of the park. Texas is currently in the top 10 in the league in home runs per game. And they're led by Corey Seager, who has 29 bombs on the year. Now they're taking on an Astro club on the other side of things, who, believe it or not, they failed to cash in on the run line in 4 out of their last 5 at home. And when it comes to hitting the baseball at Minute Maid Park, well, the Stros have actually struggled a little bit in that particular category as well. Houston's in the bottom 10 in home hits per game. Now, when it comes to the total, Houston's last 5 straight in their own building fell under the number. Meanwhile, the Rangers on the other side, they went 4-2 to the under in their last 6 away from home. I'm going to lean toward Texas plus 1.5 and the under 8 runs. With that, we're going to jump into our next and final free pick for the video. It is going to be D-backs Pods 840 East. San Diego's the $2.10 favorite at home. Totals 8 runs. Yu Darvish for San Diego. Tommy Henry for Arizona. Now, the D-backs went 7-3 straight up in their last 10 outings. They cashed in on the run line in 80% of those contests. This Diamondbacks lineup has also been tough to strike out. These guys actually strike out fewer times a game than most clubs in the National League. Christian Walker's 6th in the bigs and home runs with 32 of them. Meanwhile, teammate Josh Rojas, he has the highest qualifying batting average in the lineup here today. Now they're taking on a Padres club on the other side of things, who's actually had a tough time cashing in on the run line themselves. They went just 2-8 against the number in their last 10 ball games. And they're actually covering in only 38% of their divisional ball games for the entire year. When it comes to offensive production in this one, or lack thereof, however you want to look at it, the Pods are currently in the bottom 5 in the league right now in runs per contest at home. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, this game is being featured as my extra daily bet on my website. So if you want to see whether I'm pounding the over or the under in this one, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my extra daily bet on patreon.com/BrockPage. It's only going to cost you just $2.99. But as far as making a free pick is concerned, I'm going to lean toward the D-backs plus 1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. With that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I like the Mets minus 1.5 over 8.5 runs in Game 1. Give me the Yankees minus 150 under 7.5 in Game 1 of their doubleheader. I like Milwaukee minus 140 over 11.5. Atlanta minus 1.5 over 7. Detroit plus 1.5 under 8.5. Chicago White Sox plus 1.5 under 7.5 runs. LA Dodgers minus 1.5 over 8. New York Yankees minus 1.5 over 6.5 runs in Game 2. Give me Pittsburgh plus 1.5, cashing in on the run line in Game 2. Give me Tampa Bay minus 175 under 7. I like Philadelphia minus 170 over 7.5. Give me the under 7.5 in the Toronto-Baltimore game. And if you want to see who I'm picking to win that one, that game's being featured as my board member tier package bet on my website. Give me the Cubs minus 140 over 8 runs. St. Louis minus 1.5 over 8. I have no free pick for the Cleveland-Kansas City game. That contest is being featured as my daily best play on my website. I like Texas plus 1.5 under 8 runs. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Arizona plus 1.5 covering the run line. And as far as a play on the totals concerned in that game, the totals being featured as my extra daily bet on patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on that website. If you do end up getting a package here today, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.